In today's episode of the Safe Money Retirement Show, we're going to talk about the 4 potential outcomes in retirement. And I promise you, you're going to fall into one of those 4. Let's roll. There are only 4 potential outcomes for everyone, me included, literally everybody in retirement. We're going to discuss what those 4 potential outcomes are, what might be the best outcome for you, and how that's kind of determined in this episode. First, if you don't already have your copy of Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success, my best-selling book, I strongly recommend that you get this year started by getting your own copy. We will send you a copy absolutely free. It's our gift of knowledge to you so you can understand what's really available for you in retirement. You can log right onto our website, safemoneyretirement.com, register for your free copy there, or you can call us anytime, 833-413-SAFE. That's 833-413-7233. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the 4 potential outcomes for everybody in retirement. What are they, and how does all that work? All right, option number 1, or potential outcome number 1, is you retire by necessity. In other words, either you are terminated, or you get a disability, or you get sick, or whatever. There's something that happens that causes you to have to retire. It's not your choice. It's not even what you would want to do. You retire by necessity. Now, when that happens, sometimes that can cause people to make some different decisions. A couple things about retiring by necessity. People that are my clients that wind up retiring by necessity, in a lot of cases, they are the people that wind up starting Social Security earlier because they don't have any choice, right? I mean, they're not choosing to do that. They have to retire. So they may need that income that Social Security can bring them, and they can't afford to wait to take Social Security a few years later so it can defer and keep growing. So retirement by necessity is the first option. It is probably the least desirable option, but it happens. So we need to be prepared for it, and there are certain things that we can put in place based on what you have saved up in a 401, an IRA, a TSP, whatever. There are things that we can do if you get into a retirement by necessity situation. But that is the first potential outcome. It is by far the least favorable, but it's there. So if that happens to you, or if you know someone that's happened to, there are certain things that we can do to help alleviate that and help transition into retirement and make it as good as possible. All right, the number 2 potential outcome in retirement is work by necessity. This would probably be the second least favorite of the potential options in retirement. People, when they retire, they don't want to have to work, right? But some people still have to. I mean, we see the people that are greeters at your local store or bagging groceries or whatever, that are sometimes 60, 70, it seems like sometimes 80 or 90, and they're still working. Well, they're working, a lot of them, maybe not all, but a lot of them are working by necessity. They need that extra money because Social Security or their pension or their annuity income or whatever they had got lost in a market crash or whatever the reason is, or they never saved up any in the first place. They have to work. So that's the second potential outcome in retirement, is you don't have a choice. You have to work. So work by necessity. Now, there's certain things that we can do if you are working by necessity. Number 1, if you are working by necessity, can we then possibly defer Social Security and let that continue to grow for a few years before you turn it on? Are you able to get in some sort of a 401k or an IRA plan or something at the job that you're in, that you're working by necessity? So there's a few things that we have to look at in that particular situation to make sure that you're totally dialed in and that you're making the most of that. But that's the second potential outcome, is working by necessity. Third potential outcome, retirement by choice. This is, I would say, probably the second most favorite. because people just retire and they do what they want. That is their choice. And if that's what you want to do, I think that's great. That's exactly what you should be able to do if that's what you want to do. And what retirement by choice means is completely different for each individual person. Retirement by choice for one person might mean playing golf and tennis every day. For another person, it might mean taking trips. For another person, it might mean volunteering at the local animal shelter and spending time with the grandkids. For another person, it might mean working with the church or some sort of a mission. There's so many different things, but when you can retire by choice, then you've got some options. Options are now it's open for you. So you can do what you feel is best when you can retire by choice. And as far as the way that we plan a retirement by choice, obviously we've already done some planning because now you're in a situation where you can do what you want. Do we need to defer the Social Security? Probably. Do we need to get some guaranteed incomes? What? We can look at a bunch of different things when you retire by choice. And of course, starting planning as early as possible is what's going to allow you to be able to retire by choice whenever that is. The standard thought obviously is 65, but man, I'm seeing a lot of people these days that are retiring even younger. And conversely, I'm seeing others that are still working into their 80s. So, being able to retire by choice was a great place to be. I mean, that is definitely a desirable place to be, is being able to retire and do what you want to do, not have to do something by necessity, being able to do what you want in retirement and planning it and doing what you want. But I would say there's still one more, because there's number 4. And believe it or not, this last one, I would say probably might even be one step higher. Either retirement by choice or this last one, which is work by choice. There are so many people that maybe they're tired of the grind, they're tired of having to go to that same old office over and over and over. But man, when they retire, now you can focus on what do you want to do. Do you want to start some sort of a mission, or do you want to just subcontract yourself out at a very high rate because you've got all these years of knowledge? Or do you want to start something new, something you've always wanted to do? You can do that by choice. And I'm going to be honest with you, in many cases, I see the most happiness in my clients when they do that. When they are doing something to stay productive, to stay active, to maybe bring money in, hopefully, and maybe a lot of money in some cases, but something that's going to keep their mind active, keep them socially involved, working by choice, I would say probably is the number one as far as happiness that I see from my clients. They seem the happiest. So let's run down these 4 one more time before we wrap up this segment. The first and probably the least desirable is retirement by necessity. That's the first choice, or the first outcome, I should say. And that is you have to retire. You don't have a choice because of some sort of an issue, or you were terminated or whatever. Second is work by necessity. Not a whole lot better than retirement by necessity. You're working because you absolutely have to. You don't have many choices there. The best one as far as what's going to work good are the last 2, which is retirement by choice and work by choice. And I would say both of those are relatively even. I just see a lot of my clients are happier being able to work because then they can pour their heart into it. But there's also, I've got clients that love playing golf 3 times a week and then going shopping with their wife 2 days a week, and every other weekend they're off on some other trip. It's up to the individual. And that's why I say that you need to sit down with your own certified financial fiduciary and figure out what's going to be the best plan for you to get you the outcome in retirement that you want. In today's case file, we are going to look at the story of Kim and Larry. Now, Kim and Larry came into us through our website, and originally I was only working with Kim. Kim had a sizable IRA. It was actually over $1 million. And what her concerns was, number one, losing it in a stock market crash. But number 2, what she really wanted was she wanted an income that she knew she couldn't outlive, because there was a little bit of a gap between what she got from Social Security and what their bills were, because they had quite a bit of expenses. So what we did is we sat down, we came up with a plan for her specifically that got her actually way more income than she was looking for. So we got her that. We got that taken care of, and she wanted the income to start immediately. So we got her into a plan. She's actually already getting those checks. She got the first one sooner than she thought she was going to, so she was really excited about that. But we got her set, got her income. Now she never has to worry about it. And one comment that she made, and y'all have heard me talk about this before, everyone talks about the 4% rule and that you should withdraw 4% and you should be fine. Well, number one, that is actually down to about probably 2.5% to be safe. But what she was getting on hers was over 6%. And it's guaranteed she can never outlive it. So why would you want to take 4% or less? These are her words. Why would you want to take 4% or less knowing you might run out when you can take 6% or more and know you can never outlive it? I don't know why. I said I have no idea. So we got her happy. And then that's when Larry, her husband, got involved, saw that he also had an IRA for actually a little more than her, but he didn't want income because with her income, with other things he had, that was going to be plenty of income. He just wanted to grow his as much as possible with no chances of losses. So we wound up looking for him, doing a full fact finder and a search, and got him into a strong growth plan that allows him every year to reallocate between a market index and a fixed rate so he can determine exactly how he wants his money to grow every single year, all with no fees and no chances of losses. So they both left feeling like they got exactly what they wanted because they did. She got the income that she wanted. He got the growth with no losses that he wanted. They are totally happy. They've sent me actually quite a few referrals since. Now, how can this relate to you? If you need a guaranteed income, you may not have $1 million saved up and you don't need $1 million. A lot of these plans start as low as $20,000. But you can take a chunk of money, you can invest it with a top-rated life insurance company, and they in turn will tell you, okay, we will pay you X dollars for as long as you're breathing, and if we set it up right, as long as you and your spouse are breathing. So they're guaranteeing you an income. It's pretty much almost always over 4% unless you start that income super young. If you're at retirement age, it's going to be more than 4%. So you're going to wind up getting paid more than you could just taking 4% out of your account, and it's guaranteed for the rest of your life. That's the secret phrase at the end. It's guaranteed for the rest of your life. It can never run out. Long as you're breathing, it's paying. It also makes it a lot easier to spend those checks. When you know another one's coming next month, makes it a lot easier to spend this month's. So that's number one. Number two, maybe you don't need any income. Maybe you're totally fine in the income. Maybe you've got pensions and disabilities maybe, or whatever. If you don't need it, then let's look at some growth plans. Do you want your money to grow just on a set basis, a fixed basis, at a fixed rate all the time so you know every year how much it's making? Or would you rather it grow based on what a market index does, like the S&P 500 or, several of the different indexes? And we can adjust that every single year based on what product, if we get you into the right product. So again, it's really specifically about you and what you need for your specific retirement. That's why you need to sit down with a certified financial fiduciary, do a full fact finder, find what's going to be best for you, and then we can help you come up with your own safe money retirement.